Vienna, Austria, a city of 2 million people, beautiful architecture, world-class public transport, Michelin star restaurants, ranked the #1 most livable city in the world for the last 5 years in a row, and here is the part that should make every American angry. 60% of Vienna's population lives in high-quality, government-subsidized housing, rented at dramatically below market rates, not run-down blocks, not dangerous neighborhoods. Beautiful, well-maintained apartments in the heart of one of the most desirable cities on earth. America looked at this model, studied it, and decided not to copy it. Today I am going to show you exactly why and what it tells us about who the Yao system is actually designed to serve. Let us start with where America stands right now. The median home price in the United States as of 2025 is over $400,000. The median household income is around $74,000 a year. That means the average American home costs over 5 times the average annual household income. In 1980, that ratio was 3 times. You could realistically save for a down payment in a few years. Today, the average first-time homebuyer in America is 40 years old. 40 years old. In the 1970s, that number was 29. So in one generation, the dream of owning a home went from something you could achieve in your late 20s to something most people cannot touch until they are middle-aged. And here is what the media will tell you caused this. Low interest rates, supply chain issues, not enough construction, all partially true. But none of it explains why America refuses to use the solutions that have worked everywhere else. Because the solutions exist. They have been proven. Multiple countries have implemented them successfully. America just keeps choosing not to. Let me walk you through 5 countries that solved housing. Real data. No theory. Country 1, Austria. The Vienna model. Vienna has been building subsidized public housing since the 1920s. Over 60% of the city's population lives in what they call Gemeinde, community buildings. These are not emergency shelters. These are modern, well-maintained apartments in desirable neighborhoods with good schools, parks, and public transport. A 2-bedroom apartment in Vienna's social housing system rents for approximately $500 to $800 a month. The same apartment on the open market costs $1,400 to $1,800. Vienna's homelessness rate is among the lowest of any major city in the world. Country 2, Singapore. The ownership model. Singapore took a completely different approach. Instead of renting, they built a system where 80% of Singapore's population owns their home. The government built them, sold them at subsidized prices, and created a mandatory saving system where both employees and employers contribute. And those funds can be used directly for housing payments. 80% home ownership. In a city where land is scarce and population density is extreme. America's home ownership rate is currently 65% and falling. Country 3, Finland, ending homelessness. Finland launched a program called Housing First in 2008. Give homeless people permanent housing immediately, with no conditions, then provide support services around them. Finland has reduced homelessness by over 75% since the program launched. They are the only country in Europe where homelessness is actually declining. The program costs money up front, but studies show it saves more than it costs, because housed people use emergency services and hospitals dramatically less. Country 4, Japan. The supply solution in Tokyo, a city of 14 million people. Zoning laws allow almost any type of housing to be built almost anywhere. The result? Tokyo has added more housing units in the last decade than the entire state of California. Tokyo home prices have barely risen in 30 years. California median home prices have increased over 300%. In the same period, Country 5, Netherlands. The mixed model. About 30% of all housing in the Netherlands is social housing, managed by non-profit housing corporations. Amsterdam, one of the most desirable cities in Europe, has kept housing accessible for working and middle-class people through this system for decades. 5 countries, 5 different approaches, all producing better housing outcomes than the United States. So why does America refuse to copy any of them? This is the part of the video where I need you to pay close attention, because the answer reveals something important about who actually controls American housing policy. Reason 1. Home equity is how middle-class Americans build wealth. The average American homeowner has $300,000 in home equity. That equity is their retirement plan, their emergency fund, their children's inheritance. So when politicians propose policies that might bring housing prices down, existing homeowners vote against them, because their financial survival depends on prices staying high. This creates a system where the people who already own homes have a direct financial incentive to block the policies that would help people who do not. Reason 2. Institutional investors profit from the crisis. Between 2020 and 2023, corporate investors purchased over 500,000 single-family homes in America. Companies like Blackstone now own hundreds of thousands of properties, not to live in, but to rent back to families who can no longer afford to buy. These companies spend millions lobbying against policies that would increase housing supply or regulate rents, because their business model depends on housing remaining scarce and expensive. Reason 3. Zoning laws make it illegal to build affordably. 75% of residential land in American cities is zoned exclusively for single-family homes. It is literally illegal to build an apartment building on most residential land in America. This artificial scarcity is defended ferociously by the people who benefit from it. Reason 4. The political timeline. Problem building social housing at scale takes 10 to 20 years to show results. Politicians run for re-election every 2 to 6 years. Vienna's housing success is the result of 100 years of consistent policy. American politicians cannot commit to 100 months. The system is not broken, it is optimized for the people who already own assets. So where does that leave you? The political will to fix American housing does not currently exist at the scale needed. That does not mean nothing will change, but it means you probably cannot wait for the system to fix itself. Here are your real options. Option 1. Build equity differently. House hacking. Buy a small multi-unit property. Live in one unit, rent the others. Your tenants pay your mortgage. This is how middle-class wealth was built in previous generations, and it still works. Option 2. Move where the math works. Midwest cities like Columbus, Ohio, Indianapolis, Kansas City. Prices are rising there too, but from a much lower base. Remote work has made this option more realistic than ever. Option 3. Look internationally. Portugal has a digital nomad visa. A one-bedroom apartment in Lisbon right now, $900 to $1,200 a month. The same quality of life in Austin, Texas, was $1,700 to $2,200 a month. Same salary, different country, completely different financial reality. Option 4. Fight for change at the local level. Zoning laws are decided locally. Cities like Minneapolis and Auckland, New Zealand have already eliminated single-family only zoning. Housing construction boomed, prices stabilized. It works when the political will exists. Your local vote has more power than your presidential vote. Vienna solved it 100 years ago. Singapore solved it 50 years ago. Finland is ending homelessness right now. Tokyo builds enough housing to keep prices flat, while California builds almost nothing. The solutions are not secret. They are not experimental. They are proven, documented, and replicable. America just keeps choosing not to use them. And now you know why. I want to know where you are watching from. Comment your country below. If you are outside America, tell me what housing costs where you are. Let us build a real picture together. If this gave you something to think about, share it with one person who is currently renting and wondering if it ever gets better. Next week, I am breaking down the real cost of car ownership in America. The $12,000 a year nobody ever adds up. It will change how you think about the car sitting in your driveway. The Escape Math. See you next week.